Chris said, I'm from Syria, I moved here in '98. I mostly work with a youth group in Murfreesboro called the Murfreesboro Muslim Youth. And their main task that we do is connecting them with the community. We do a lot of community work. We do a lot of community activities. And part of what we do is working with refugees. Now, to kind of relate on this as well, I think this is where some candidates get confused. I'm an immigrant and I sell drugs. That's what Trump was accusing us for, by selling legally as a pharmacist. So it's not really true, but maybe he's confused with a lot of other issues. What we've done actually, my small group, and Murfreesboro is a tiny city of about 95,000 people. Since the crisis in Syria started, we've been sending supplies to Syria. We sent a total of about 40-foot containers of humanitarian aid to Syrian refugees overseas before we start seeing refugees coming over to Tennessee or to the United States in general. And question to a lot of people that we hear a lot of time is, why are we not helping them overseas so they can stay over here? We've tried for a long time. And some people still don't have anywhere to go to, so we have to accept them here if we can. Beginning of this year, once we start seeing the refugees arriving to Tennessee and the United States, we established a group, we call it Home Away from Home. The purpose of the group is to welcome new arrivals, help them blend with the community, help them sell well, find jobs, and be part of the community we live in. Our concept was really simple. A new arriving refugee that has lived in fear for years need to see love. If they see hate, they will retract. If they retract, we are establishing an unhealthy individual in the future. So that's the whole concept. So when a person arrives here, we provide them with what we call a care kit that has personal hygiene items, personal care, baby care stuff. Next thing is we send one of our youth with them. They take them out shopping for clothing items, for whatever else they need. We have a budget for each family, so we take them out shopping, buy their essential supplies. Once they're settled in the house, we also visit them and do what we call the peer-to-peer furnishing of the house. So we visit the house, we walk around, see, okay, you need the sofa, you need the refrigerator, you need the microwave. We create a list, we put it on Facebook, and people donate the items, we put it together, take it to them. The next phase is to help the individuals get a driver's license. Then the next phase to help them actually get a car financed to them. Because as those who work in the car business will realize these people can't buy a car. They cannot finance a car, they have no jobs, no credit history. So we help them with that regard, and then we help them find a job. And normally within 4 to 6 months, that family has at least one person with a job, they have a car, they're able to stand on their feet. So that would actually take them off the need of welfare and so forth. We've helped quite a few families. They have very, very interesting stories. The time is too short to share with you guys. Opposite to all numbers that you hear, we've received a total of about 22 individuals, 6 only are over the age of 18 out of the 22. And the rest are all children or under the age of 18. These are the stages we go through. Now, this is as far as what we've done with the refugees, my small group. The next is the question that comes to a lot of people's mind, and I'm from Murfreesboro, and those who know the South know what that means. Anything that will go against minorities usually starts there, which is what I call an opportunity for us to work harder. In that area, the way it works, in my personal opinion, ignorance or uneducated or lack of knowledge about a subject exists in every community. Muslim communities don't know that much about American communities. Americans don't know that much about Muslims. Blacks don't know much about whites. Whites don't know that much about blacks. So that's normal. That is what we call normal. The solution to that is questions. Now you have fear. Fear happens when I hear, hey, my neighbor who's Christian, white Christian, committed a crime last week, so now I'm afraid of that I don't know. Now here's what the issue is. These two are normal. They happen. This is sociology ABC. Now you have the hate mongers that come in and want to profit out of this. So that's when Bethany comes in. He comes out and says, we're not taking refugees in Alabama. Now everyone else around the country said, this is a good idea. So I see Bill Kitchen, 5 minutes, probably 15 minutes, Bill Kitchen is my senator. He comes out on TV probably 15 minutes after the announcement saying, hey, we're going to do the same in Tennessee. Now Hassler who's regularly a decent guy in Tennessee, who's a governor in Tennessee, will say, no, we're not going to do that. This is not us. Now you have Ramsey, Lieutenant Governor of Tennessee. I'm talking about my area because I know how it works. Oh, no, we're going to do that. This is a good idea. So you have 2 or 3 more senators pressuring the governor, and next thing Tennessee follows Alabama. Now you have 2 states, now you have a 3rd state coming up, and it's popping all over the map. 24 hours later, what do we have? 32 states saying, we're not taking refugees anymore. Now you have a lot of people from the first category we talked about, either uneducated, don't know what's going on, or afraid, following the lead because they don't know any better. And that's what I started by saying, this is an opportunity. This is us having to reach out to those individuals and trying to tell them, hey, this is really what's happening. And you can't do that on Facebook. You can't do that in a general meeting like this with all the respect. You can do this by taking their hand and walking with them to a refugee's house and tell them, talk to these folks. I'll see you in an hour. And you come back in an hour, and guess what? The kids are playing together. They're going out doing something together. They're shopping. They go to the park. It's over. They're lost. Love wins. What happens as well a lot of times is what we had earlier today. We had a distraction. The computer would not work, right? We were late starting. So everyone now thinking, this place is not doing good. We're late starting, right? Computers don't work. They can't even get the computers working. What kind of organization is this, right? That's a distraction. The reality is, we're here. This is a long-term project. They worked on this for a year, and we're judging them about 5 minutes we spent with a distraction that's completely out of their hand. And that's what we do in real life. That's what we're doing with the refugees. That's our mentality, and we have to change it. And I'm not talking about people who are anti-refugees changing. I'm talking about us. Don't use distraction to justify your own feelings about a subject or a topic or a person. Think about that person as a person. Look at them for long term. Listen to the story of a refugee. Listen to Ayman, whose dad passed away in Egypt on the trip here, that I've met personally. And he has 4 siblings. His mom, she's partially disabled. And he's 16, he's the eldest of 5. This is the kind of story you need to listen to. So I can go there and I can see Ayman's mom yelling at the young boy, looking at, oh, she's just a bad mom. It just been 5 minutes. I don't know, her husband passed away, she lost everything she has. These are distractions. Ignorance is the enemy. Fear is an enemy. No, they're not. They're just factors. The real enemy is hangmongers who are profiting politically, financially, physically, ideologically from these distractions. The ignorant and the individuals will have fear. That's what our battle is. Now I'm going to go through facts versus myth. And I'm going to ask questions. And I'm going to give you answers. Now, refugees are more likely to be terrorists. We hear that all the time. Fox News, 24 hours. Now, reality is, that's not true. Southern Poverty Law Center has listed 112 documented radical right-wing terrorist plots since 1995. That's 5.5 attacks a year. Just laying out. These are classified by the FBI as terrorist attacks. From September 11, 2001 until the end of 2014, 109 Muslim Americans in and outside the United States plotted against targets in the United States. And terrorists by Muslim Americans killed 50 in the same time period. Contrast to that, in the last year, 2014, we have 136 attacks by right-wing individuals. Next question, how many refugees have we had? And I want you to distinguish refugees as not immigrants, refugees as 9/11. Does anyone know? How many humanitarian refugees have we received in the United States? 785,000. So this is how many refugees we've had since 9/11. Not one of them has been convicted of killing a person in a terrorist act. Only 2. And I cannot document this. I can document this back to Nicholas Christopher in the New York Times. Only 2 have been convicted of a murder from that same group. Next question I have, or next one, wait on that one. How many Syrian refugees have we had in the last 5 years? It was on the screen a minute ago. How many refugees? 1,800. Only 1,800 in the last 5 years. That's the big deal that everyone's fussing about. 1,800. Now, what percentage does that represent? Just over 1,800 Syrian refugees have been admitted to the United States since civil war in Syria began. That is 0.62% increase in the population over 5 years. Our growth rate is 0.7. In 2015, Syrian refugees made up 2% of the 7,000 refugees we received in the United States. This is the New York Times. Next one, hold on that one. Last 30 years, what are the top waves of refugees we receive? What's the number one country that we got refugees from? What's the number two? I want you to tell me one of the five. There are 5 countries I'm going to tell you about. Can anyone name any of them? The 5 top countries we received humanitarian refugees from in the United States. Bosnia? Bosnia is 1. Iraq is 2.
Somalia?
Nope.
Sudan?
Nope.
Cambodia?
Where?
Cambodia?
Nope. Okay, let's go. Can I show you them? All right, here are the numbers. This is from the Department of State. 380,000 refugees from the Soviet Union. Vietnam, 182. Bosnia, 169. Iraq, 106. Myanmar, 104. Half of the people here don't know what Myanmar is, probably. And that's just compared to 1,800 Syrians. So, this is a question. We have never faced a situation like this before. Oh yeah, we have. Now, this is an interesting story on the very top. Has anyone ever heard of this? Southeast ship? Very famous story. 900 passengers were on it. It was rejected by our Coast Guards, sent back to Europe, where most of them were killed by the Nazis. Now, the other misconception, I'm going to say this from me monitoring a lot of the Syrian refugees information. I hope that the politicians realize we don't have borders with Europe. You see, a lot of refugees coming to Europe are walking, unless they're all Jesus. They're not going to come here walking. They have to be able to enter through one of our designated ports or Mexican borders, which we know how hard that is. Next one is vetting process is not adequate. Now, if any of you met a refugee in person and talked to them about the vetting process, it is a pain. And it is, in most cases, very unsuccessful. Most individuals we put through the vetting process do not make it to the United States. The majority of them don't make it. It takes 18 to 36 months. I met families that took them as long as 40 years to get here. The actual criteria, I'll give you a lot of examples. They go all the way to your third blood relative. They would ask, who's your cousin? Who's a cousin of your cousin? And they would interview your relatives. So for example, they would interview me, and I would tell them I'm going there because I'm sick, I have cancer, and I have a wife and 2 kids. And they're going to interview my sister, and they're going to ask her about me. And she said, oh, he has a wife and 3 children. And oh, he lied. There's one child discrepancy here. And in most cases, there'll be no question. I'm done. They're not going to say, okay, she made a mistake, he made a mistake, let's go and ask him again. I'm done at that point. This is just a quick example. This example is actually from the UNICEF website. The director was talking about that about a month ago. This is actually a nice one. I like this one. So if ISIS takes advantage of the refugee program, it makes no operational sense. It literally makes no operational sense. I mean, you're going to send someone, an agent, to sit somewhere and wait and wait and wait, when you can actually purchase a passport for about $1,500 for almost any country you want in the Middle East right now, and enter here through regular visa or student visa or marriage visa or any kind of visa that you want. You just pick and choose whatever you want. And the vetting process will not be anywhere close. The next one may not be very clear, but this is actually from the Department of State, and we go through the vetting process that we follow. This is detailing all the process, the steps, was rejected, was accepted. The most important point is a personal interview and the background check and all the medical check. I asked one of the ladies, Kauthar, how many times she was fingerprinted. She said she lost count. Like each time you interview, you get fingerprint. She said, I lost count after that. But I don't remember how many times I got I got fingerprinted. Yeah. Is there any way to distinguish a violent refugee from non-violent refugee? This is a very common question we hear. How can we tell which one is which? There is not. I don't know of any way to distinguish, but I can tell you for certain, 5 years old is not violent. I can tell you that with all certainty. I can tell you 90% of the refugees I've dealt with, there's no way they can be violent. Forging documents is easy for any of those groups, as we talked about earlier. I don't know if you heard about the journalist from Paris who was able to get 4 different passports for 4 different countries with almost $4,500 in 2 weeks. Just to prove that point. This is recently after the Paris attack, actually. He able to use his money, his influence, his connection. He was able to obtain 4 different passports for 4 different countries from the Middle East within like a matter of 2 weeks. Just using money. The current vetting process we have is the most strict in the world. This is according to the United Nations, the UNH. Next, the last myth I have, refugees are economical burden. This is a very common one. They're going to suck the economy. They're going to draw the welfare program. They're going to draw Medicaid programs. And that is absolutely not true. And I can tell you this from Nashville has one of the largest refugee communities from Iraq. Almost 20,000 abandoned, and we talked about Iraq and Nashville. Barely any of them on welfare today. Some are political activists, doctors, physicians, engineers, regular blue-collar workers. They're not a burden of the community. I can tell you that with certainty. There's several quotations in here from the New Yorker and different places. Ultimately, what I'm trying to say here is we are who we are.